Given that 21 base 5 equals to 14 base x, find the value of x. This is simple, and what this is testing is your knowledge of number base. So what we do here is, let's first write it out. 21 base 5 equals to 14 base x. To simplify this, we need to convert the two to the same base. So in this case, we choose the easiest one, converting to base 10. So convert both sides to what? To base 10. So how do we convert to base 10? 21 base 5. If you want to convert this to base 10, like the usual way we know, you number it 0, 1 from back to front. And what we do is you say 2 multiplied by the base 5 raised to the power 1 plus, in this case, 1 multiplied by 5 raised to what? Power 0. That is for this 21. And for the other side, we have 14. And if you write it this way, 14, 0, 1, we say 1 multiplied by x that we don't know raised to the what? Power of 1 plus 4 multiplied by x raised to what? Power 0. So this is, it has become simpler now. So we could solve it one by one. 5 raised to power 1 is what? Is 5 multiplied by 2 plus anything raised to the power of 0 gives us 1. 1 multiplied by 1 gives us 1 equals to x raised to power 1 gives us x back. X multiplied by 1, x plus x raised to power 0. Anything raised to power 0 is 1. 1 times 4 gives us what? 4. So now 2 multiplied by 5 is what? 10 plus 1 equals to x what? X plus 4. And 10 plus 1 is what? 11 equals to 4 plus x. Here we just do what? We collect the like terms. So if you collect the like terms, what do we have next? We could just bring this one back here. It becomes 11 minus 4 equals to x. And 11 minus 4 is what? 6 equals to x. So therefore x equals to 6. That's simple. Okay, this is question 7. And question 7 says, given that x plus y equals to 1 and x plus 3y equals to 5, find the value of x squared plus 4xy plus 3y squared. So what do we do here? First of all, we need to get the value of x and y. And if you write these two equations out, then we have a simultaneous equation. The second equation is x plus 3y equals 5. And the first one is x plus y equals 1. So we could write it as equation 1 or 2 as it pleases you. So looking at this, the fastest method is to just eliminate one of them, which is x, by doing what? Subtracting the two equations from one another. If you subtract that, then you see that 1 from 5 gives us what? 4. Y from 3y gives us 2y. And x minus x cancels out and gives us 0. So with this, we could say 2y equals what? 4. And from here, if you divide both sides by 2, 2 cancels out. And we have what left? Then y equals to what? 2. So this is the value of y. So from this value, we can substitute back into any of the equations and get our x. So let's substitute equation 2. Then we have what? We have if x plus y equals 4, then now we are putting y in place of x. Then we have x plus 2 equals what? Equals 1. X plus 1 equals 1. So we could collect like terms, push 2 to the other side, then we have what? X equals to what? 1 minus 2, and x gives us what? Minus 1. That's simple. So now we've gotten x and y. So from here we could substitute the value of y and x into this expression. And the expression says x squared plus 4xy plus 3y squared. So what is our x? Our x is what? Minus 1. It becomes minus 1 raised to the power of 2 plus 4 into brackets what? Minus 1 and what? 2 being y plus 3 into bracket of what? 2 raised to power 2 close brackets. So let's solve this one by one. Minus 1 to the power of 2 is minus 1 times minus 1. That gives us what? Plus 1. Plus minus 1 multiplied by 2 gives us minus 2. Minus 2 times plus 4 gives us what? Minus 8. So we have minus 8. Then here we have 2 raised to power 2, which is what? 4. 4 times 3 gives us what? 12 plus 12. So if you solve this directly, we have what? 1 minus 8 gives us what? Minus 7 plus 12. And minus 7 plus 12 equals to what? Positive 5. So this is the answer. Simple or simple? Okay, this is question 8. And question 8 says that consider the following statements. The first says P stands for what? When the weather is warm. And Q stands for when the sun is shining. They say which of the following correctly represents the statement, and the statement is talking about here is this, in this quotation. It says the sun is shining if and only if the weather is warm. So whenever you see if and only if, that is what? By conditional statement. And what by conditional statement stands for in logic is that this can only happen when this is happening. If this is not happening, this is not then happening. So what this statement is looking for is an expression here that shows that the weather is warm if and only if the sun is shining. And if you look at all these notations, this is what stands for if. If this means implies, that is, if and only if this happens, then what is next is going to happen. But if you look at option A, it says P, which is what? The weather is warm. You see, the weather is warm if and only if, this stands for not, if and only if the sun is not shining. And this second one says the weather is not warm if and only if the sun is not shining. That is the opposite of what we're even looking for. And this says the weather is not warm if and only if the sun is not shining. But the last one is the only correct answer that says Q happens if and only if P is happening. So this is the correct answer. Simple or simple? Okay, this is number 9. And the question says if 2 log x into the bracket of 1 minus square root of x divided by square root of x all equals to 0. Let's find x. So to find x here, I will start by, let me rewrite the question out and say 2 log to the base of x 1 minus root x divided by root x equals to 0. So if you look at this, you can reduce the complexity of this by dividing through by 2. So if you divide both sides by 2, then you have 2 will cross out this one. You'll be left with what? Log to the base of x 1 minus root x over root x equals to what? 0 over 2, which will give us what? It will still give us 0, because if you divide 0 by 2, you're still going to have 0. So what do we have next? We have log to the base of x 1 minus root x over root x equals to 0. We've been able to cancel out the 2. But from here, to remove the log so that we can find our x easily, you need to recall this logarithmic identity that says if you have a log a equals to c to the base of b, it is the same thing as or let me say, you can rewrite it as A equals to B raised to power C. So in this case, we've been able to remove the logarithm and rewrite it as a normal mathematical expression. So we can do the same to this. And what does that translate to? It gives us, because if you, in this case, what is in the bracket is A, the base is B, and 0 is what? The C. So we can rewrite it and say this, which is 1 minus root x divided by 1 divided by root x, sorry, equals to what? The base x equals to what? The base x raised to power what? What we have in front, which is c here, but what? Raised to power 0 here. And in this case, our question is less complicated. What do we do next? If you solve this, anything raised to the power of 0 is what? Is 1. So we are left with 1 minus root 3 root x divided by root x equals to what? 1. So here, to solve it, to make the work simpler, what can we do? The next step to take here is to do what? Multiply both sides by root x. So if you multiply both sides by root x, what do you have next? If you say 1 minus square root of x over root x, multiply by root x, this root x will cancel this root x. And what do you have in front? You have 1. 1 multiplied by root x gives us what? Root x. So here we are left with 1 minus root x equals to root x. So if you are left with it, you could just collect like times and say 1 equals to root x. This negative will turn to positive plus root x. So root x and root x, this is also what? 2 root x. 1 equals to 2 root x. So from here we can divide both sides by what? By 2. It cancels out and we are left with what? Root x equals to 1 over 2. But remember, we are looking for x, not root x. So, and if you find the square of a square root, it cancels out. So you could just square both sides, and we are left with what? X equals to 1 raised to power 2 is 1. 2 raised to power 2 is 4. So the answer is 1 over 4. Simple or simple? Thank you. Okay, this is question 10, and it says, in a class of 42 students, 21 offer history and 28 offer government. If each student offer at least one of the two subjects, find the probability that a student selected at random from the class offer government only. So the best way and the fastest way to deal with this question is to um, represent the question in form of a Venn diagram. And we have this. Let's say this box represents the whole of the class. And we were told that the total population of the class is what? 42 students. 42 students. So this is the first course, which is what? History. Let's represent that with H. And the second course represents what? Government. So if history students, if history, let's say H equals to 21 students, and government equals to what? 28. So there's possibility that some of them offers the two questions. That's why we have this intercept here. So let's put X there. And the total number of students that offer history is 21. That means the whole number for the whole of this circle is 21, excluding this one. So meaning that only this section is 21 minus what? X. While if the number of students offering government is 28, excluding this will be what? 28 minus x. So now we are told that we should find a probability that when chosen at random, the student or a student will offer what? Government only. And the section of this diagram that contains government only is just this place. This part is what contains government only. So, because if it crosses to the other side, it becomes history. So if it crosses to this place, that means the student is offering both history and government, but we're looking for only this side. So but we know that the total number is 42. So we can write the expression this way and say This side, which is what? 21 minus x. When you add it to the intercept plus x, then you add it to what? To only government, which is 28 minus x. All of it together should give us what? 42. So if you open up this bracket and I have 21 minus x plus 28 minus x equals to 42. So this minus x and plus x, it cancels out. Then we are left with what? 21 plus 28 minus x equals to what? 42. We can take x to this side and bring 42 to this side. Then we have what? 21 plus 28 gives us what? 49. 49 equals, if you bring this back here, minus 42 equals to what? X. And if you subtract these two from each other, it gives us what? That is x equals to what? 49 minus 42 is what? 7. So if you know that 49 minus 42 is 7, that means the intercept is what? 7. So from this diagram, you can see that what we are looking for is what? This shaded part, which is what? 28 minus. So we are looking for, since government is what? 28 minus x, which is government only. Let me write it clearly. Government only equals to what? 28 minus x. And we know that x is 7 already, and we have what? 28 minus 7. That gives us what? 21. So what we are looking for is what? The probability that if you choose at random, only this section will be what? Will be selected. And that is only 21. 21 out of the total number 42. So the probability that it will be only this is what? The probability of 21 divided by the total, which gives us what? Because 21 here is 1 and 21 here is what? 2. That is half, is it? So it is half or what? 50%. So that is the answer. Simple or simple?